Welcome. I am your host, Jean Eaton, the Practice Management Mentor with Information Managers. It is my honor and pleasure to be with you today at Practice Management Nuggets. This is a regular interview series with practice managers, healthcare providers, or trusted vendors who support healthcare practices. Our topics help primary care practice managers, healthcare providers, and owners to implement, maintain, or improve their business and practice administration so that healthcare providers can focus on providing quality healthcare services. Today, I'm very excited to welcome my guest, Sharon Polsky, to our Practice Management Nuggets. I met Sharon when I joined the Privacy and Access Council of Canada and worked with Sharon when I was on the executive of the PACC. If you're serious about practical learning in privacy, access, and security, and want to join speakers, delegates, and thought leaders with shared interests on privacy that you can apply in your own environment right away, then you need to make sure to check out this interview with Sharon. And we're going to be talking about the National Data Privacy Congress that is coming up in Calgary this April. Welcome, Sharon.
Jean, it's a delight to be with you again.
It's great to have you back. And the Congress is happening again this year in Calgary from April 5th to the 7th. And it is full of information. And we want to review the information and find out why people should be attending this Congress. So let's get started. Tell me about the Congress.
Well, Jean, this is the third time that the Privacy and Access Council hosts the National Privacy and Data Governance Congress. And the feedback that we've received from delegates, from speakers, from commissioners has been absolutely mind-blowing because it has been unanimously positive. We do things a bit differently. We don't try and pack in as many people as we possibly can into a room and then boast, we had 800, we had 1,200 people, and we have dozens of concurrent sessions because what can you really grasp in? Every one of our sessions is at least an hour and a half long. Some are 2 or 3 hours long. That sounds long, but as one commissioner said last year, at the end of the Regulators Roundtable, which is the culminating event, if you will, he approached me and said, going into this, I thought 2 hours for the roundtable was going to be really long. We could have continued for another hour. This was great, Sharon. And we also insist on keeping the attendance low so that speakers have a chance to actually talk with delegates, so that delegates really have a chance not only to ask their questions and get unscripted answers, but so that there's a real opportunity to catch up with the person who asked a question on the other side of the room. We limit attendance to 250, and that way, with everybody in the same intimate area, we can actually have fulsome conversation, some meaningful networking, and it works so well. We're excited for it.
It is a great Congress, and the networking is such an important part. If you're going to spend the time and go out of town to be able to attend a conference, you want to make sure that you have the time to do the networking, not only with the speakers, but with the people that are attending as well. That's the absolute value add of going to a Congress.
You're absolutely right, because it's your colleagues, your peers, that you finally have an opportunity to meet face to face and ask the questions and share that knowledge.
Okay, so you do have a lot of speakers and a lot of plans for the Congress, and we've got 20 minutes to tell people why they should be attending the Congress. So can you walk us through what the events are for the Congress?
Oh, the why is, of course, the big one, and the no pun intended, the global overarching why is because data now is global. It travels around the globe, and every Canadian organization has a legislated requirement to protect sensitive personal information. So whether we're crossing into the U.S. or another country and we have our smartphone that shouldn't have work-related personal information, but it usually does, What are our rights? We're going to be talking about that. Do we have any rights for digital privacy at the border going out of Canada and coming into Canada? How our information is being entrusted into the cloud. Where is that? How do we negotiate a contract so that when we entrust our clients, our patients' personal information to the cloud, how can we make sure that it is protected? Because ultimately, we have the responsibility. If the cloud provider suffers a breach, we are the ones that will face sanctions. We have to answer for it. So these are some of the bigger ones. We're also going to be having some really, really practical guidance. Not only Jean Eaton, wonderful workshop host and leader. Thank you for again coming to run that workshop on managing privacy breaches. There was some very good feedback last time, and there's already people looking forward to your workshop on the opening day on April 5th. So that's tremendous. But every one of the sessions offers practical information. There's a privacy toolkit for small and medium business. Ryerson, actually, their people are coming out with HP, enterprise people, to talk about this, because till now, the focus has been largely on public sector and health. Health information, though, is part of every private sector organization, because there's employees, there's employee health, there's third-party benefits. Where is all that information? How do you protect it? How do you safeguard it? These are some of the things we'll be talking about.
That toolkit sounds like a great opportunity. So they're going to be talking about information, managing it in the tools on the cloud. Is that part of the conversation?
Well, the cloud is one session, and that's going to be done by Ian Thorburn. He's a senior lawyer with the City of Toronto, and he's going to be going through the practical tips of how to negotiate a cloud contract. What are the terms you have to have so that the personal information can be adequately protected and safeguarded? The privacy toolkit is something completely different, and that is something along the lines of how to inventory what the information in your organization is, how to safeguard it. Because small and medium businesses, they usually don't have the resources to do a full inventory of their data flows, of a detailed privacy impact assessment, but they still have that responsibility. So right. The privacy toolkit will help small and medium businesses to understand how they can comply with the governing legislation in a way that really is affordable.
Okay. So that's a really important part. You can't protect something if you don't know what you got.
Precisely.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got some information about information in the cloud, some practical tools for private businesses, about small and medium businesses, about inventorying your information that you've got so that you can protect it. What else is on the agenda?
Oh, well, remember I said global? The GDPR, the General Data Privacy Regulation, is coming into force in Europe in May of 2018, and a lot of people don't realize that the GDPR is going to affect Canadian organizations if they hold or process the information of European citizens. And the GDPR is now the global gold standard.
Okay. So that's an important part to remember, that if you're operating your business in Canada, but you have information from other centers, there's other privacy legislation that you may still need to be required to meet. Absolutely.
And the requirements from Europe now are really quite stringent. It's similar to the Canadian federal private sector law, PIPEDA, but it has more stringent requirements, and the big difference is the penalties. Not only is there an ability for someone to launch a civil action if they think that their personal information has been inappropriately used, disclosed, breached, essentially. But the penalties that can be imposed, one of them is 4% of an organization's annual global revenue.
Wow, that's huge.
That's right. The potential impact for any organization's bottom line is massive. So people are taking notice, and well, they should. So we'll be talking about that at the Congress so that organizations have that year to prepare, because even though Canada's had privacy legislation for literally decades, there's still an awful lot of organizations that are not ready. They don't have their policies adequately in place. They don't have the training, and these are requirements of the GDPR also. So that it's barely more than a year, and we'll be talking about it at the conference at the beginning of April so that organizations can get ready.
Okay. So the people that need to attend this Congress, so far we've talked about any business that has information in the cloud, any business that has information that they're managing for people that reside in the EU. Who else needs to attend the conference?
Well, actually lawyers, believe it or not, and whether they are corporate lawyers or lawyers in a healthcare setting, lawyers need to, because privacy law is not taught in Canadian law schools, which is amazing, but it's not. It's mentioned in a couple of courses, but that's all. And lawyers have to understand this, because whether it's an action or a client file, a patient file, an organizational program, they have to understand that there are privacy requirements and they need to understand how to comply. Actually, Lisa, the Legal Education Society of Alberta is on board with this, because they don't offer privacy training this year. So they're suggesting that lawyers across Alberta check this out. The Law Society of Saskatchewan has approved the National Data Congress for continuing professional development credits, as has the IAPP from the U.S. They've approved it for continuing educational credits. So whether you are a privacy practitioner, a manager, an information security person, a lawyer, a member of the executive of an organization, because ultimately you're responsible, data privacy officers, people who are interested in protecting their own privacy should attend. There's something in it really for everyone.
There really is, and that's one of the things that I get so excited about the Congress. This is my world. I spend a lot of time dealing with things in privacy, but every time I go to the Congress, I hear about new things that are coming on the horizon. So it's not only the stuff that's been tried and true, and we've got case files to be able to review and summarize, and there's value in doing that, but stuff that's coming down the pipe so that we can have the opportunity to be prepared and to think about those questions that otherwise, sitting in our offices all by ourselves, we might not ever know about.
You're absolutely right. And that's something that we've done, and looking back at previous Congresses, we've done well. We don't go after the same topics that have been covered because they've been covered. We ask speakers to limit their formal remarks to half the allotted time and spend the rest of the time actually talking and having a genuine conversation. We don't want to cover the same old. So we're looking at not only digital privacy at the border, we're looking at things like wearables in the workplace. Not do you wear a Fitbit, but if you wear a Fitbit because your employer has suggested that their third-party benefits provider can create a health plan or a diet regimen for you because a healthy employee is a happy employee, is a productive employee, who has access to that information? How can it come back to bite you? I mean, we're hearing about people who are now being arrested and charged and convicted based on the readouts of their heart monitor, their pacemaker, all these little Internet of Things smart devices that are crowding into our world. We use them because they're convenient, but where does that information go? Who's going to have access to it? can we protect ourselves, and how? How do we, as individuals, regain some control over it? We'll talk about that. We're going to have, Dr. Tom Keenan from the University of Calgary. He wrote a book, you might have heard of it, Techno Creep.
Oh,
He's going to be doing a book signing on Thursday evening during the networking cocktail party. But he's going to be talking about, how's this for a title? Your FuelBand knows when you're having sex in your rental car will rat you out. Because it's true. Your FuelBand, which is the Nike equivalent of a Fitbit, it monitors everything. Where does it send those bits of information that your heart rate is up at certain times in day or night? Or your car, more than 150 different computer sensor systems in your car that automatically send information around the globe. And then we have someone coming in from Toronto who is really on the vanguard of eDiscovery. And she's really quite the specialist. She was with the Ontario Public Sector as a counsel there, and she looked around and she said, no. Lawyers, clients, they need to understand the connection between protecting privacy and balancing eDiscovery, so the discovery of documents before a lawsuit. How do you establish that balance? How do you gather all the documents for a lawsuit? And on one hand, there's an obligation to reveal it to the other side in a civil lawsuit, yet there's also the obligation to protect privacy. Where is that balance? So she's going to go through all of that. All of these different topics that really do interrelate and are so essential. And it gets complex, but we break it down so that it's really understandable for managers, for executives, for the people who work with sensitive data every day.
Okay, so we've got a great agenda of lots of speakers and lots of great varieties of topics. We've got information for small and medium businesses. We've got information for both the private and the public sector, for the healthcare sector, and for every individual that needs to understand how their information is being managed. So we want to encourage lawyers, privacy officers, security officers, technology folks to make sure that they come and attend the Congress. What do they need to know about attending the Congress, Sharon?
Well, the early bird deadline for reduced registration rates ends at the end of February, and we've also made arrangements for special Congress rates with the host venue, the Carriage House Hotel in Calgary. And we've also, if you're coming from out of town and flying to Calgary, we've arranged a discount courtesy of WestJet. So recognizing that resources and funding is always an issue, and as a nonprofit, volunteer-run organization, we certainly appreciate that. We do what we can to help lighten the load. And as far as that, by the way, one other thing I want to mention that we do a bit differently. We don't have major sponsors. In fact, the entire event is self-funding. And one of the big reasons we don't end up with sponsors is because we don't want to have sessions and speakers that really are little more than thinly veiled sales pitches. That's not what this conference is for. You're not taking your time and investing your efforts and your dollars to come to be sold to. So we don't have that. Okay.
So now that everybody wants to come to the Congress, where do they register?
They visit PACC-CCAP.ca and click on the Congress link and have a close look at what the agenda is. You can actually just click on the banner that says National Privacy and Data Governance Congress, the World of Change, because we are in a world of change, and register. If there's going to be a group of people from your organization, we can arrange group discounts, of course, but for individuals, there's a series of different price brackets, and we look forward to seeing you there.
That's a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity for, many of us working in the privacy field are alone in our organizations. So we need to step outside of our organizations to broaden our horizons and understand what is coming down the pipe, and being able to have the opportunity to talk with other professionals in the field that aren't necessarily in your office, so that you can engage and revitalize both yourself and your organization. It's really important to be able to connect with other professionals. And one of the cool things that I really like about all these Congress events is that it's the right place to be if you are a new person in the profession, or if you are a senior person in the profession. Everybody is welcome. There's no dumb questions, and there's always somebody there to mentor you. So if you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking to be a mentor, this is the place to go to connect with individuals and engage in the topics and refresh yourself, prepare your organization, and be able to lead with confidence for the rest of the year.
You're absolutely right, Jean. And one of the wonderful sessions is that round table, the regulators round table. And most of the regulators who come, they come for the entire conference. Where else are you going to have a chance to sit down over a cup of coffee and talk to one of Canada's privacy commissioners? You can here. They are so gracious and so welcoming. It's wonderful. A tremendous opportunity to get to know them as people and ask your questions.
That's a great opportunity to be able to come to the Congress and be able to connect with those individuals and really get to understand the whys and the wherefores behind all of the processes that we need to have in place. Sharon, it's been wonderful chatting with you today. I'm looking forward to coming to the Congress, just like I have every year, and I can't wait to be able to network and to be able to meet new people at the Congress.
It'll be great to see you there again, and I'm looking forward to sitting in on your privacy breach workshop.
Thank
you so much.
All right, so everyone, you need to go out and register for the Privacy Congress. So it's the National Privacy and Data Governance Congress in Calgary on April 5th, 6th, and 7th. It is a wealth of information that you can re-energize your information and to be able to bring back information to your organization. It's practical. It's networking. You need to be there. I'll be there. I look forward to seeing you then. Please introduce yourself to me, and I look forward to seeing you for the National Privacy and Data Governance Congress in Calgary.